Stranded Apocalypse: How I Survived 30 Days Off the Grid. The day I almost died began like any other toxic morning on social media. You're just another screen-addicted millennial who couldn't survive a day without Wi-Fi. Read the comment under my TikTok hiking video. User at Wilderness Warrior 1975 had taken personal offense to my trail review that mentioned the poor cell reception at Black Rock Mountain State Park. I should have scrolled past it. Instead, I took the bait. I could survive a month in the wilderness with nothing but my wits, I typed back, adding the eye roll emoji for extra sass. Some of us have real outdoor skills, not just keyboard courage. That should have been the end of it. Just another forgettable internet spat lost in the digital void. Then, at Wilderness Warrior 1975 replied, "Prove it. $50,000 says you can't last 30 days off-grid. No phone, no tech, no outside help. Just you and nature. I'm serious." And that's how I, Marcus Chun, 28-year-old social media manager for an organic kombucha brand, ended up in the middle of the Montana wilderness with nothing but a backpack and a catastrophic overestimation of my survival skills. Oh, and a legally binding contract with a mysterious eccentric millionaire who turned out to be a 67-year-old former reality TV survival show host with a vendetta against digital natives. "You're completely insane," my roommate Derek said as I packed my backpack the night before my departure. "You're going to die because some internet troll triggered you." "He's not a troll," I insisted, stuffing a Swiss Army knife into a side pocket. "Russell Blackwood is a legitimate survival expert. He had that show Primal Man in the early 2000s. The one where the guy ate bugs and drank his own pee?" Derek looked horrified. "That got canceled because he punched a cameraman." "He says that was taken out of context," I muttered, though I wasn't entirely convinced myself. "Besides, it's $50,000. Do you know how many months of rent that covers in San Francisco?" "Like 3. Derek picked up the contract I'd signed. "It says here you forfeit the money if you use any technology, request rescue, or leave the designated area before the 30 days are up. And you have to document everything with this." He held up the ancient handycam Russell had provided. "It's going to be fine," I said with more confidence than I felt. "I've been camping tons of times." "Glamping in Yosemite with portable chargers and a cooler full of White Claws doesn't count as wilderness experience," Derek said. I ignored him and continued packing. My outdoor essentials Pinterest board hadn't prepared me for this level of preparation. I settled on clothes, the knife, some waterproof matches, a tarp, rope, and a few other basics Russell had approved. No phone. No GPS. No backup battery packs. Not even a watch. Just me, a paper map, and a GoPro knockoff that could only record footage, not play it back or connect to anything. "If I don't come back," I told Derek dramatically, "tell my followers I died doing what I loved." Being petty on the internet? Exactly. The helicopter ride was the last luxury I would experience for the next month. Russell sat across from me, his weathered face split by a grin that can only be described as gleefully sadistic. He wore a custom-made t-shirt that read "OK Zoomer" and had the vibe of a man who'd been waiting his entire life to prove a point about generational decline. "Remember the rules," he shouted over the rotor noise. 30 days. No technology except the camera. No leaving the 10-square-mile area marked on your map. 3 emergency flares if you want to quit. He smirked. "But then you lose everything." "I won't need them," I said, despite the growing knot of dread in my stomach. The helicopter hovered over a small clearing in an endless expanse of forest. "Last chance to back out," a voice in my head screamed. "Tell him this was a mistake. Pay whatever penalty the contract requires." Instead, I jumped. Day 1 began with shocking clarity. I had no idea what I was doing. My first instinct was to pull out my phone to check the weather forecast, except, no phone. Then I thought about using Google Maps to locate the nearest water source. Nope. Then I considered posting a forest selfie with a brave caption for sympathy likes. Absolutely not. I was having technology withdrawal within the first hour. My thumb kept twitching toward my empty pocket. Day 1, I narrated to the camera, trying to sound confident. First priority is shelter. I'd watched enough survival shows to know that's what you're supposed to say. Shelter, water, food. In that order. So I set about gathering branches for a lean-to, an undertaking that, according to YouTube tutorials, should take about 30 minutes. It took me 6 hours, and the resulting structure looked less like a wilderness shelter and more like a giant bird had suffered a catastrophic digestive incident. Home sweet home, I told the camera, stepping back to admire my creation. That's when the rain started. Not a gentle spring shower. A biblical deluge that flattened my sad twig hut in seconds. I scrambled to salvage what I could, eventually stringing up my tarp between 4 trees to create a minimal shelter. Soaking wet, I huddled beneath it as darkness fell, already miserable and questioning every life choice that had led me to this moment. Day 1, I whispered to the camera, is complete. And I haven't died yet, so that's something. I woke up to something sniffing around my campsite. Opening my eyes, I found myself face to face with a raccoon that had absolutely no fear of humans. It was casually inspecting my backpack with the thoroughness of a TSA agent who just found a suspicious water bottle. "Hey," I yelled, flailing wildly. "Get out of here." The raccoon gave me a look that clearly communicated I was not worth its time, then sauntered away into the underbrush, stopping only to glance back once as if to say, "You won't last a week, influencer boy." After that rude awakening, I decided to find water. According to my map, there was a stream nearby. And by nearby, I mean it took me 3 hours of aimless wandering to find it, despite it being less than a mile from my camp. Navigation, it turns out, is harder when you can't just follow the blue dot on your phone. The stream was clear and cold, which I took as a sign it was safe to drink. In retrospect, this was like assuming someone is trustworthy because they're good-looking. But wilderness me had different standards than civilization me. I filmed myself triumphantly drinking from cupped hands. "Nature's hydration," I said, trying to sound like the kind of person who knew about things like edible plants and animal tracks. The kind of person who wouldn't get catastrophic diarrhea from unfiltered water. Spoiler alert, I was not that person. By day 3, I had accepted several fundamental truths. 1. Everything in nature wants to make you wet, cold, hungry, or dead, sometimes all at once. 2. Fire starting is not an intuitive skill. 3. Silence can be so complete it becomes a physical presence. 4. Squirrels are judgmental jerks. I'd managed to create a slightly better shelter, basically a tarp-covered wooden frame that kept most of the rain out. I'd also started a fire using my waterproof matches, an achievement that had me dancing around the campsite like I'd just invented electricity. "Look at this," I shouted to the camera, gesturing at my small, smoky fire. "Who needs a Bic lighter? Not this survival expert." The fire died 10 minutes later, but I didn't include that in my video diary. Food was becoming a pressing issue. I'd found some berries that matched the safe examples in the wilderness guide Russell had allowed me to bring. They tasted like underripe blueberries mixed with despair, but they didn't kill me, so I counted it as a win. That night, lying in my shelter and listening to mysterious rustlings in the darkness, I had my first moment of genuine doubt. Could I really do this for 27 more days? The $50,000 seemed increasingly insufficient compensation for my suffering. But every time I pictured Russell's smug face and that "okay Zoomer" shirt, my resolve hardened. I would not give that boomer the satisfaction. On day 5, everything changed. I discovered a natural hollow in a rocky outcropping. Not quite a cave, but a perfect natural shelter that would provide better protection than my sad twig construction. I immediately decided to relocate. While arranging my meager possessions in the new shelter, I found something startling. An old metal box wedged into a crevice at the back of the hollow. Inside was a treasure trove, a rusted but functional hunting knife, some fishing line and hooks, a magnifying glass for fire starting, and most unexpectedly, a journal. The brittle pages contained the handwritten chronicles of someone named Thomas, who appeared to have lived out here in the 1980s, not for a bet, but to escape the surveillance state and mind control frequencies. Thomas, it seemed, was what we'd now call a conspiracy theorist. But Thomas had also been an Eagle Scout with extensive wilderness knowledge, and his journal was filled with local-specific survival tips. "Thank you, Paranoid Thomas," I whispered, clutching the journal like a sacred text. "Your tinfoil hat paranoia is my salvation." With Thomas's journal as my guide, my survival game improved dramatically. Days 6 through 10 saw me successfully fishing in the stream, identifying edible plants, and even setting rudimentary traps that occasionally caught squirrels. Yes, I ate squirrel. No, it doesn't taste like chicken. It tastes like if chicken was really angry about being eaten and wanted you to remember that forever. I established a routine: mornings for gathering food and maintaining my shelter, afternoons for exploring my designated area, evenings for cooking and recording my video diary. Day 10, I told the camera, seated beside a surprisingly robust fire. "I've officially survived 1/3 of this challenge. I've created a stable shelter, found reliable food sources, and I think I'm starting to understand nature's rhythms." Right on cue, a massive thunderstorm rolled in, dousing my fire and flooding part of my shelter. Nature, I was learning, has a wicked sense of humor. The lowest point came on day 13. After days of rain, I was wet cold and fighting what felt like the beginning of a respiratory infection. The fire wouldn't start no matter what I tried. My traps were empty. Even the stream was too swollen and muddy for fishing. For the first time, I seriously considered using one of the emergency flares. I pictured the warm helicopter, the ride back to civilization, a hot shower, DoorDash, and my phone. Sweet, sweet technological comfort. I reached for my backpack, where I kept the flares. Just as my fingers touched the flare gun, something strange happened. The clouds broke, and a shaft of sunlight illuminated Thomas's journal, open to a page I hadn't read closely. Day 97. Almost gave up today. Remembered why I came here. Not just running from something, but running to something. Something real. Something true. Something that doesn't care about my social security number or voting record. The forest doesn't care who you are. It only cares what you do. It was as if Thomas was speaking directly to me across decades. I withdrew my hand from the flare gun. "Thanks, Thomas," I muttered. "But if I get pneumonia and die, I'm coming back to haunt your probably already dead, paranoid ass." I didn't die. Instead, I rallied. The sun came out the next day, dry my clothes and shelter. I started a magnificent fire using Thomas's magnifying glass technique. I caught 2 fish and roasted them over the flames. In my video diary that night, I was almost euphoric. 2 weeks down, I announced, gesturing with a fish skewer, "Russell Blackwood, if you're watching this footage, start getting that check ready." The second half of my wilderness adventure brought unexpected challenges and triumphs. Some highlights. On day 16, I encountered a black bear. Contrary to what most panic-inducing scenarios would suggest, the bear seemed supremely uninterested in me. It looked up from eating berries, gave me what I can only describe as a shrug, and went back to its meal. Still, I set a new personal record for the fastest backward retreat in human history. Day 19 brought a bizarre discovery. An abandoned campsite that, based on the empty energy drink cans and beef jerky wrappers, couldn't have been Thomas's. It appeared someone else had been here more recently. The thought was both comforting, I wasn't alone in these woods, and unsettling. Who else was out here and why? On day 21, I constructed what I considered my masterpiece, a fish trap in the stream that actually worked while I slept. Waking up to find breakfast already caught felt like winning the wilderness lottery. And on day 23, something truly remarkable happened. I stopped reaching for my phantom phone. The constant urge to check notifications, to document every moment for social media, to Google solutions to problems, it all just faded. Instead, I found myself simply experiencing each moment. Watching sunlight filter through leaves. Listening to bird song with no desire to identify the species on an app. Feeling rain on my face without wondering if it would ruin my plans. It was, in a word, freeing. Day 25, I told the camera, sitting cross-legged at the entrance to my now rather comfortable shelter. I've been thinking about something Thomas wrote in his journal. The city makes you forget what silence sounds like. Real silence isn't empty. It's full of everything we usually don't hear. I paused, unsure how to articulate what I was feeling. I think I get it now. This challenge started as a way to prove something to an internet troll and make some cash. But it's become, I don't know, a reset? Like I was a computer running too many programs, and I needed to shut down completely before rebooting. I laughed at my tech metaphor. Anyway, 5 more days. Part of me is counting the minutes until hot showers and pizza delivery. But another part. I trailed off, looking around at the forest that had become familiar. Another part is going to miss this. The final days passed in a peaceful blur. I'd settled into wilderness life with surprising ease. My shelter was solid, my fire starting was reliable, and I'd even carved crude utensils from wood. According to Thomas's journal, I was eating better than he had in his first month. On the morning of day 30, I woke before dawn, feeling a strange mix of triumph and melancholy. I packed up my few belongings, made sure my shelter was secure for Thomas's ghost or whoever might find it next, and hiked to the extraction point marked on my map. Russell's helicopter appeared exactly on schedule. As it descended, kicking up a whirlwind of leaves and dust, I felt an unexpected reluctance. Part of me wanted to run back into the trees, to disappear like Thomas had tried to do. But the larger part remembered indoor plumbing and Thai food delivery. Russell stepped out of the helicopter, that same smug grin on his face. "Surprised to see you in one piece," he shouted over the rotor noise. "Let's see that camera footage before I write any checks." Back in civilization, the sensory overload was intense. Lights too bright, sounds too harsh, everything moving too quickly. My apartment felt simultaneously foreign and luxuriously comfortable. Derek stared at me like I'd returned from the dead. "Dude, you look different." I'd lost 15 pounds, grown a respectable beard, and developed the kind of tan that outdoor clothing brands try to fake in their catalog photo shoots. But the difference was more than physical. I felt different, calmer, more present. "Did you seriously do it?" Derek asked. 30 days? No cheating." I nodded. "Every single day." "And?" He leaned forward eagerly. "Was it horrible? Did you almost die? Did you have to drink your own pee like that crazy TV guy?" "It was..." I searched for the right words. "Educational." Derek looked disappointed by my lack of dramatic wilderness horror stories. "But did you win? Is Russell paying up?" I smiled. "He's reviewing the footage now. Said he's looking for any evidence I broke the rules." 3 days later, Russell called. He sounded different. Less smug. Almost respectful. "I watched every minute," he said. "You did it. You actually did it. So I passed your test." I couldn't keep the satisfaction from my voice. "With flying colors," Russell admitted. "The money's being wired to your account as we speak." There was a pause before he added, "I also have a proposal. My production company is developing a new survival series. Digital Detox, Wilderness Edition. We need a host who can relate to the younger audience, but has legitimate survival experience." I laughed. "Are you offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a career," Russell said. "Turns out you're pretty compelling on camera, especially when you're talking to that raccoon you named Instagram." I winced. I'd forgotten about my late-night philosophical conversations with that raccoon. "Think about it," Russell continued. "You've got something genuine most survival shows lack. The authentic journey from clueless city kid to competent woodsman. Plus, you didn't even use your emergency flares." "Wait," I said, suddenly suspicious. Was this whole thing an elaborate audition? Russell's laugh confirmed my suspicion. "Let's just say I've been waiting for the right person to find Thomas's journal. Though most quit before they discover it." Thomas was real. I was stunned. "Thomas was me," Russell said quietly. "Back in '89, before the TV career. Those were different times." Suddenly, everything made sense. The perfectly placed journal. The convenient tools. The abandoned campsite with modern trash. "You've been monitoring me the whole time," I realized. "Making sure I didn't die." "From a respectful distance," Russell confirmed. "But everything you accomplished was real. The question is, what are you going to do with what you learned?" 6 months later, I stood in front of a camera crew in the same Montana wilderness. but this time by choice. Welcome to Digital Detox, I said to the camera. I'm Marcus Chun, and 30 days in these woods changed my life. Now we're going to see if it can change yours. Behind me stood 6 contestants, all chronically online millennials and Gen Z heirs with more TikTok followers than outdoor experience. All of them looking as terrified and overconfident as I had been. For the next 30 days, I continued, you'll leave behind your phones, your followers, and your filters. You'll face nature on its terms, not yours. Some of you will break. Some of you will break through. I gestured to the forest around us. This isn't about proving who's the toughest or most skilled. It's about discovering something you've probably never experienced, what it feels like to be truly unplugged, truly present, and truly tested. As the contestants shifted nervously, I smiled, thinking of my own journey from cynical social media manager to whatever I was becoming. Oh, and one more thing, I added. Watch out for the raccoons. They're judgmental as hell. Later that night, after the contestants had been dispatched to their separate wilderness zones, I sat alone by a campfire. Russell had offered me a luxury cabin during filming, but I declined. After the cameras stopped rolling each day, I preferred to stay out here. I pulled out my phone, yes, I was allowed one now, and opened my most recent text from Derek. Miss Civilization yet? He'd asked. I looked up at the star-filled sky, listened to the night sounds of the forest, and felt a pleasant ache in my muscles from a day of honest, physical work. Nope, I typed back. I brought the best parts with me. Then I turned off my phone, set aside, and simply sat, watching the flames dance in the darkness, content in the knowledge that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new lessons, and new opportunities to share what I'd learned with others who needed it as badly as I once did. From internet dare to life transformation. Not bad for a former screen addict who just wanted to win an argument online. The end.